All right, what I want to do now is something I haven't touched on. It is the use of the stimulus material that you could use to answer essay questions. Everyone who's listening has access to the specimen paper, and that's where I want to start from. Now, what are the strategies for extracting information from the stimulus material? What I'm going to do is, I'm not going to have any questions, but I'm going to have a look at the different stimulus material in the sample broadsheet. So spend a moment and go get the broadsheet. First of all, let's look at source A. It's an aerial photograph, and what it's showing is there's a freeway with overlapping loops in an urban area. So what do you notice about that? The first thing you notice is it's an aerial photograph, so you make that comment. If you get a rural and urban places question, I would refer to this as an example of transport infrastructure. And you go, for example, as indicated in source A, the aerial photograph, it's clear that transport infrastructure has been developed about this urban settlement. Then go on with your example about Piedmont or whatever you're going to do. Then the next question is source B is looking at a climate graph. And if you had to use that, it just says station X, but clearly the temperatures are low in June, July, and they're higher in January and December. So we know it's the southern hemisphere, so you make that observation. You also make the observation that the highest rainfall is in the winter months, with very low rainfall from November and December, but high rainfall in January and February. That might indicate, because of the highness and the lowness of the rainfall, an area that is monsoonal with a wet season and a dry season. So it might be more likely to be in northern Australia. These are the thinking geographer things that I'd like you to do. Let's have a look at source C, which is a state population profile. And clearly, if you look at that, you can see there's an ageing of the population with a lot more elderly people over 70, and there's quite a large base down the bottom. But what it's slightly different about is the agricultural areas compared to the state. And you can see that in the agricultural region for the elderly population, it's higher than the state average. Whereas if you look at the young population, they're relatively close, 0 to 9. These are the thinking geographer things that you need to make a statement about in your short answer or an essay to show the examiner that you've referred to it. They may not ask you to look at stimulus material, but your job is to look at the stimulus material.